What's the name of your dispensary again?
Quincy Cannabis Company. QuincyCannabisCo.com.
So are you growing it over there?
So I have a grow called Van Garden, and that's in Leicester, Massachusetts. It's one of the biggest grows in Massachusetts.
When did you first start selling weed?
Oh, back in the 90s.
You started selling illegally.
I grew, and I just share with my friends.
Well, the thing is, without people growing it and selling it illegally, we wouldn't have this legalized regulatory scheme now, right? Like somebody had to do it.
Well, look at the tax they're getting out of it. They're banging you on the tax, what, 20% on both sides?
20%. But Massachusetts has done great. Think of all the people that wanted this to not happen. When are they going to come out and say, you know what, I was wrong?
It's not a gateway drug.
How much money, how many jobs, how much economic activity?
How long have you had the store open?
Well, the hemp is still open, and so we've had that open for 30 years. Yeah. Quincy Cannabis was open a year ago. Van Garden's been up for about 5 years.
Northampton has been 3 years.
I'm sure you learn something every day, but you've definitely been around it a long time.
Been around since the beginning as far as Massachusetts is concerned, yeah.
Wow. Since before the beginning.
You're indoor, mostly all indoor?
Yeah, so we use all LED lights. We're building our own energy plant on site, a gas-fired cogen energy plant.
So any solar?
So yeah, we're looking into deploying solar. So any way you can mitigate costs and get more efficient.
So what else do you do?
Yeah.
Well, we have 4 kids.
Really?
Yeah.
Are they all in school?
Yeah, they are. Well, from age 3 to 14.
Oh, so that's, what's problem is when they're teenagers, they don't like you anymore.
They don't.
They love you when they're little?
Yeah, they don't talk to you anymore.
Our girls, they're good. They're good girls, they're good. They're in my realm now. Like, they want my clothes.
You've been around, you know what's going on with kids today. You got to keep an eye on them.
Well, you got to keep an eye on their phone. Like they're totally addicted to their phones.
I will say, our youngest, our 3-year-old, who's turning 4 next month, she had leukemia when she was a baby. She was 7 months old, diagnosed with leukemia. This is during COVID, during lockdown. And
you bringing the children's?
Yeah, I brought her to Children's, and she was there for 7 months getting chemotherapy, and John was adamant about her getting CBD. Tried to get her a card, tried to talk to the doctors about it, and they were like, well, the doctor that knows all about that just left the hospital. And we're in the ICU, where she's getting 3 blood transfusions immediately to survive the night and start chemo immediately. And we're the smartest people in the room about cannabis. They don't know.
They don't know anything.
No, and it was like,
imagine that in the doctors.
And we're in this crisis moment.
They don't teach you about it in med school, and then they're willfully ignorant after that.
Yeah, they just don't know what they don't know, and they're not willing to. They didn't know anything about it. So we got them to approve CBD as part of a treatment plan, and we would give it to her. And we gave
in Massachusetts?
Yeah, in Massachusetts.
You got the state to approve it?
Oh no, well the state already has approved it, but in order to get a medical card for kids, you had to have like a doctor or a nurse practitioner, but 2 physicians had to sign off on it. It had to be for terminal.
Does it work?
Terminal illness. Does it work? I would say just broadly yes, but the question is, what does it work for? So it works for alleviating pain, works for alleviating nausea, works for helping for sleep. I mean, all the things that it helps.
How old is this kid?
Shay is turning 4 next month.
Oh, that's awful. You know what? I have a weakness for kids, old people, and animals. Everybody else, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well.
But there's studies that show that the CBD helps make the chemotherapy more effective.
It helps to kill cancer cells.
She never lost weight during the chemo.
She didn't lose her hair?
She lost her hair.
Her hair. She never got a feeding tube. She never lost weight. She didn't use opioids during her.
That's good. That stuff's poison.
Yeah, well, so is the chemotherapy.
I think it's a lot safer. I really think it's a lot safer than a lot of other stuff.
Marijuana is safer.
So is your daughter's prognosis good?
She's been in remission for 3 years and 3 months.
That's awesome.
God willing, she stays that way.
Your kids are not supposed to die before.
She was 7 months old.
You know what I mean? Your kids are supposed to outlive you.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was a close call.
When this legal thing came out, what were you doing when you figured that out?
Well, people used to come into the store, like the hemp is back in the 90s, and be like, what are you doing? Like, what is the point of this? And we're going to legalize cannabis. And then people would say, that'll never happen.
That's what I said.
And I would just say, well, never's a long time from now.
Right.
Do you think it could be legal in 100 years? Well, maybe, I guess, in 150 years. Maybe. Well, let's bring it down to 20 years. Well, maybe. Then, you can say, yeah, okay. I'm willing to spend 20 years of my life getting it legal right now. And it was just like every day you're just, maybe about 25% of the people would have voted yes in 1995. But you were just riding an educational wave, and people were just learning more and more about this plant. And 21 years later, we got 53% of the vote in Massachusetts. I always thought Massachusetts was viable.
I think it was going to be one of the first.
Was going to be one of the first. The ballot initiative, that was the key. The states without a ballot initiative weren't going to be the first because the politicians weren't going to do it. We needed a voter initiative.
But we also needed stages for that initiative to happen. So we had decrim in 2008, then we had medical in 2012, and then we had rec in 2016. So having those steps come first, like that was necessary for people to normalize it, right? To accept it as something that is not gonna make the sky fall down.
I think you guys should write a book.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah, that's true too. But the best book out there is The Emperor Wears No Clothes.
Because a lot of up and comers are just stumbling around. Because I've seen this. People, a lot of it's behind us are corporations, not mom and pop. Not a lot of mom and pops, a lot of corporation money, and they get going with this product, and it's really substantial.
Terrible.
Because some of these, I guess in Massachusetts they have within 10%. Some of these places were between 16 and 20 points off.
Yeah, the lab is Yeah.
Is that common, you think?
Yeah, it's a problem.
More than one.
But
place.
here's the thing. So the THC levels are elevated. People are over drying their plant.
Well, they're drawing the best parts of the plant and sending it.
You manipulate it in different ways. There's definitely different ways to manipulate it. You have to talk to a guy at the lab and they'll explain it all. I'm not going to do that. But the thing is, like I was reading an article recently, and they were even on a legit lab test. They were wondering why. Okay, if you have 3% terpenes here, 1% terpenes here, or you have a similar lab test, but the two plants are having different effects. Why, if these two plants have a similar THC, a similar terpene count, why am I having a different nose? Why am I having a different effect? And the article goes down to break down, like, look, there's about 420 different chemicals in cannabis. And we don't know what a lot of these things are doing. And there's a lot of these non-terpene, volatile chemicals in there, flavorants they were calling them, that really are probably having most of the effect. So these lab tests, basically the article is saying, these lab tests are completely useless. Whatever that THC number is, doesn't matter. That terpene number doesn't matter. It was just like, just smell it. If it smells right to you, that's probably right.
Which makes sense. I mean, like allergies are kind of the same way. If you have a natural, not a natural reaction where you don't like something, like I don't like onions. They make that.
You don't like onions?
I don't like onions, and like my body.
I love onions with a sour.
Some people do, but for me, it's like there's just a reaction that I have, and it's because I'm allergic to them. Like I have a sensitivity to them. Same with weed. Like, your body knows what works for it. So like, just use your fucking nose. Try it if you like it. Go with it. If it doesn't work, you're not gonna be able to read through it. The profiles mean nothing, especially with these inflated lab results.
And so we have a lot of people in the state that are just kind of THC hunters. They just go to the
they want the 3D.
So at least half the people that come into Quincy Cannabis Company, they're just like, yeah, give me the highest testing pre-roll you have. Give me the highest testing.
It doesn't mean to get you high.
It's not going to get you we should be doing a Coke Pepsi challenge with this stuff just to get people educated. Like, here, try the 20%.
That would be awesome.
Tell me which got you higher.
It's just amazing how the connection of weed it's like worldwide.
It brings people together, for sure, yeah.
Weed is nothing if not social. Weed is social.
Yeah.
Social consumption, like, just talking to the commissioners the other day saying, they're like, we're talking about legalizing or regulating social consumption, allowing it. And I'm like, you're not allowing it. You're just regulating. It's already happening. It's only been social.
It's happening anyway. It's already happening.
You want to incentivize people to get that license, so figure out how to do that, because right now they don't need a license to socially consume. We're doing it anyway.
You're kicking the drum.
It looks like these guys are going to get going.
Marijuana Policy Project, donate if you're interested in legalizing more. I'm on the board from MPP, and I would love to see more legalization if you would too. MPP.
Quincy Cannabis Company. QuincyCannabisCo.com.
These guys were awesome. Great interview. Seem like great people. How you doing, Joe?
How you doing? All right, thanks, guys. All right.